Hello?
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Brandon.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, is Noor here?
You know what? I'm trying to figure out which which one of these I'm in. What is going on? Oh, there we go. Okay. I gotta turn my camera on. Am I in the right one? I had, hi, Aya.
Hello, hi.
I had two, I had two different meetings for this, or two different IDs for this. So hopefully, I'm assuming you guys are here that we logged into the wrong one or the right one.
Noor actually told me that we have a meeting with you, 9 or 9:30 my time, like
Yeah, this
our time.
should be our group coaching one, but but I don't know if this is. Let's see. No, let's see. Let me message. I'm going to message Nord. Um,
Brandon, can you give me 1 second? I'm joining from my laptop because I'm
yeah, of
joining
course,
from my
of
phone.
course. Well, we should have everybody. The one that we're doing now is our
Okay.
group coaching, so we should have a bunch of people joining.
Okay.
Do what you
I'll
need to do.
join. Okay, I'll join right now from my laptop. I'm so sorry.
Okay, sounds good. Don't be.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hi. Sorry.
Well, I think we might be in the wrong link. I'm not sure. Hold on. I'm trying to find out from Nor.
Hey, I'm here.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, so this is the
It could.
main link. So
Okay.
I'm not sure why it's showing you two on your Teams account, but this is like we're in the right one.
Okay, so the other one then, it looks like I invited everybody for one, and then you invited everyone for one. So I will delete the one that I did, and hopefully we don't screw people up.
Okay.
Why isn't it edit series? You'd think a delete button would be really easy, but I don't see.
I
Oh, there it
think
is.
there's a cancel on the.
Yeah, I found it. Okay, cool. Got rid of it. Now there's only one on my calendar, so that should be good.
Yep, that's the one.
Cool. Oh, Chris is here. I was like, are we like nobody's showing up today?
Lucky day or something?
I feel so rejected today.
I shouldn't take it personally.
I don't. It's also June, so
Yeah.
you know
Yeah,
what
James
happens.
is in the water park with his kids, so I'm very jealous because it's very hot today.
I tell you, James does more vacations than anyone I know. Chris,
The love for
Chris, we're gonna have
CEO.
to.
Yeah, we met
We're gonna have to do a polo shirt exchange. Have you seen our new fist bump polos?
I saw you wearing it the other day.
this morning.
Yeah, I like our new logo a lot. So I like your beehive logo. Now, what am when I say beehive, what am I doing wrong? You keep saying I'm saying it wrong, or I just type it wrong.
Company name is Blue Hive, and you're calling it Beehive.
Oh my gosh, I do, don't I? I knew it that. Well, look at your logo. It looks like a beehive.
Well, yeah, it's true. I'm not denying that. That's on purpose. But and you're not the only one who does it by any means. But
Yeah,
I figure I
that's
might as well
funny. Is
correct,
as soon as you
correct
said
you
that,
when
I'm
it's
like,
going in
oh, I
writing.
knew. Yeah, it's like, oh, I knew it was Blue Hive, but you're right. I always say beehive. All right. Hey, Butch. Well, hey, I want to get started today. I know we have a really small turnout today, but that's okay. I think the three things I wanted to talk about today. One is we talked about sending out messages for referrals. It's been 3 weeks now. We talked about getting some traction by the end of June. I wanted to see where everybody was with that. I want to talk about some of the new things that are happening in LinkedIn, specifically the videos that I keep calling the TikTok style videos, because I think it's something that we need to take serious. And then the third thing, if we have time for it, I want to talk about what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing in my group. You know, when Darren McKee and I and a couple others get together, what is getting the most play right now is teaching people very specific things how to do it. That's getting the biggest engagement right now. Teach. And we haven't talked about that for a little while, so I wanted to bring that back up. Anything else, Butch or Chris or Aya or Noor? I don't think anyone else is on here. Anything else topic wise? Chris, I don't know if you met Aya. By the way, Aya's one of our newest concierge. Aya and Miriam are our newest concierge.
Yeah,
Aya,
Mariam
how are you?
unfortunately can't make it. She'll make it next week.
Hello.
Cool.
Excellent. I
We'll get her
did
next
notice that
week.
she was here and I hadn't met her yet. So wonderful.
Yeah.
Welcome to the team.
You're on mute, Butch.
Teams.
Old
Hey, Aya.
guy mistake.
Easy. Hey, Aya. I'm Butch. I work here.
Oh, you guys didn't meet on the meeting because Butch wasn't on the meeting this week, the team meeting. That's right.
Hello.
Oh,
I think Aya's frozen.
She can't be frozen. She's in Cairo. It's hot.
Either that or she's
It
sitting real
it's too
still.
hot.
Staying
But
very
Brandon,
still.
on the topic side, I want you to talk about like I know
too
the
hot.
whole LinkedIn TikTok thing is kind of like
Uh-huh.
a good thing and a bad thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, when you point that out, I have a comment because vertical videos are like breaking the internet right now, and
Yeah.
apparently they're breaking LinkedIn right now as well.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, we can talk about that right now. I don't want to forget the referrals. I know it's only Butch and Chris. I've had a lot of success with the referral messages. I want to encourage everybody with those. But yeah, let's talk about it. So I think the vertical videos, the TikTok style videos and LinkedIn, this is the second time that they've released a beta. They released it, gosh, I can't even remember. I couldn't figure it out. It was at least 12 months ago, maybe 12 to 18 months ago that they did a release. And almost just as quick as they started it, it disappeared. And like no message about it, no real whole lot of anything about it. And as you guys know, Darren McKee is my contact to all things LinkedIn because he's now in a invited influencer group where he talks directly with LinkedIn people on all things like what's coming, what's working, and all that. So I always leverage him for that. He seems to think as well that it's going to stick this time. Look, as we talk a lot about that fusion of our humanity with our business know-how, and I think just the long term of that style of video, call it the TikTok style, call it the Instagram story video, I just don't think LinkedIn can keep it away anymore, if that makes sense. TikTok, just took over immediately because of those style of videos. And it's not just a vertical, it's the talking like you're talking to somebody, where LinkedIn for the long time was still, and this is where one of our advantages has been, right? As we talk about bringing our humanity and our business together. It's like you're talking to a specific person. You're not going, hey, I'm Brandon with Fist Bump. You just start a video by going, so the other day I was listening to, so this just happened, that more conversational, personal, human style. It's so prevalent in other platforms that I just don't believe LinkedIn's going to be able to ignore it anymore. So I think it's going to stick this time. And I think that brings to us the need to expand our style of video. And I think the sooner that we do it, the better it's going to be, because if it's going to stay, the sooner we start doing it, the faster, wider traction we're going to get. So the TikTok style video of you talking with another video in the background, and I forget what they call it. Nora, what do they call that when you, I forget the right term for it inside of TikTok. Anybody remember it? When you have the video where like you can talk, but you're playing, the video of someone else's video is playing, but then you're in the front, like in a cutout.
Oh, Stitch. Called a Stitch.
Stitch. There you go. Like a Stitch style video. My LinkedIn feed right now, my video feed, is filled with Stitch style videos. And I think that that's going to dominate for a while. I'm going to pause right there. What are your guys' thoughts?
For some reason, I am intimidated by the video. Like I post a lot of content and most of it's stills and writing, and I do a little bit of video, but hardly ever me talking into it. I don't know what it is. Up until now, I guess I haven't associated with that with like, okay, this is actually really working and I probably need to, adapt. So there's that, but for whatever reason, I've kind of avoided that.
Yeah. What do you think it is that intimidates you about that?
You know now, like you wish you knew 3 years ago.
Probably the whole idea of, the potential to sound like an idiot, or I guess when I'm writing, there's the ability to kind of correct yourself and whatnot. And I know that it's not necessarily done live, but the idea of having to, see your face, see what you look like when you're talking, and get the content right enough that it's like, okay, this is good. I'm going to post it.
Mhm.
I joined Vidyard like 3 years ago with the idea that coming out of COVID, I'm like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make the little Stitch style videos, right? Put yourself in a box and talk about this. And I made a few, and I never got comfortable with that. So that's just a bit of I guess, a self-limiting belief on my end. And
Yeah.
I hadn't really pressed myself to stretch in that realm until now that if that's the way that it's going and we're going to need it to continue to get traction, then maybe that's what I need to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I think all that's well said, Chris. I think especially people our age, it hasn't been a natural motion for us to do that. And like we didn't even start experiencing video at scale like that until we were middle school at best. And because we didn't have phones in our pockets throughout high school and college, video was just not a big part of our lives. And so it's a new motion, and getting more comfortable with seeing ourselves on video, getting more comfortable with posting it, and getting more comfortable with that more natural conversational style it's a stretch. It's different. It's very different for us. But I think here's one of the advantages. I haven't really moved that, like, I've got an Instagram account, I have a TikTok account. Honestly, I use TikTok for research. I published a few things probably a year plus ago, but I just repurposed what I was doing on LinkedIn and just threw it over the fence into TikTok. And no one cared. And it was the wrong style of video for TikToks. So I just stopped. But I think if the style is coming to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is my number one platform, the good news is once I get out of my comfort zone and start producing this type of video, now it's the right style of video. Even if I do it once a week, it's the right style of video to push to Instagram and TikTok. And hopefully that'll then start to expand our audience quicker.
That makes sense.
So I
And
have
then
this.
I think, go ahead, Butch. Sorry.
So I have this issue in life that when things work really well, I just stop doing them and start doing something else because it's easy. And I did some videos at the first of the year and really got some good engagement with it. So I definitely need to hop back in there. You know, Chris, what I'd say to you, the one thing you got to get used to is you don't look or sound anything like you think you look or sound. And, it's just what it is.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, honestly, I hate my voice. I think my voice sounds lame. I wish I had more of a radio voice, and it's always scratchy. But
You have a radio face.
I do have a face for radio. Exactly.
I was
That's why
thinking
I cover it up with hair.
one problem too for Chris is he's so quiet and reserved. I just don't see how he could make a video.
Like that sarcasm.
I know, right?
Like that
Doesn't like to talk.
Nope.
So I think next week what I want to do is start looking at video creation. I'm actually going to tap into our younger team about how to create Stitch videos. What are some of the best practices? Because I believe, like, one of the things that took me a long time, and I had somebody who worked for me at Funnel Amplified, that after about 6 months of creating videos and all that, she said, can I tell you something? I said, sure. She goes, your style of video is the problem. It's not your content. I go, what do you mean? And she said, well, you start every video with, hi, I'm Brandon Lee, the founder of Funnel Amplified. It's like, once you say that, no one cares. They move on. So you just have to start it conversational. It's almost like you start your video mid-conversation. So it's like you think of a question that they would ask and you just start answering it. And like, it was such an awkward motion for me. And I think, Nora, I've gotten better at it. The videos that I send to you and You'll be able to judge me here pretty soon too, because you'll be getting all my videos. But I think I've gotten better at it of just saying, okay, you're middle of a conversation and you just start recording with, yeah, that's a good question. Or, like, so I witnessed the other day and you just start talking. It is a weird emotion, to be honest. It took me a long time to get more comfortable with it.
Do you
You're
think that
walking the dogs things, Chris, it'd be perfect videos. Just talk while you're walking the dog.
was it Brian Burns, and the real truth about sales or whatever? I mean, he
Yeah.
was doing those walking videos for freaking ever. And then I haven't seen him much, but and to parlay on this, the whole teaching thing, and I'm sure we'll tie this all back together. I hadn't seen a whole lot from Morgan Ingram for a while, and like all of a sudden he's back with a vengeance, and his like every day is like, I'm sharing his post with my team because he's like, here's how you do it. Boom, 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 boom. Here's your cadence. Here's your style. So the whole teaching thing, I'm definitely on board with that. I guess when you consider like wrapping your arms around your plan for the week, I'm going to produce X amount of all of this content one a day type of thing. And have a plan for like, I'm going to do at least 1 or 2 videos. I'm going to teach some, and I'm to put it together in such a way that once people start following you, they're like, holy shit, this guy's, got some great stuff to say. Or at least that's the idea.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think bringing those two together is, and you're right. In fact, I reached out to Morgan. Morgan and I live about 10 minutes away from each other, and we were getting together periodically, and he's just totally disappeared. But you're right, he's come back with the vengeance, and it is the teach, teach, teach. I mean, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about today is teach, teach, teach on post. And then we've got to figure out the vertical video format and the style with it. Noor, you were going to say something earlier and I said, I think I'm getting better at it, but what are some of your best use case recommendations on the vertical style video?
Well, I will never stop recommending her enough, but Mandy McEwen's videos, every time she comes across my feed, I just sit and watch. Even if it's like a topic that I don't really know anything about or I'm not interested in, but I just sit and watch because her style is very captivating. Her backgrounds are always different and bright. Her lighting is like always on point, and she's always talking with energy, and this is something very important. Your energy gets, translated in front of the camera. If you're having a bad day and you're talking like you're not excited about what you're talking about, that's going to reflect to everyone else. So you need to like pick up the pace and the energy, even if you're not feeling it, but just do it for like those 2 minutes of the video and then, go about by your day as normal.
Yeah.
But her videos are just an incredible place where you can like learn a lot of tricks about like lighting, background, all of these things.
Can you share that in either here in the comments or the chat?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Either her name or just in the fist bump. LinkedIn thread.
Mandy McEwen. Yeah, Mandy McEwen. She's been on our show a couple of times. She's really awesome. She also has the advantage of she divorced her husband because she felt like he was limiting her life. They didn't have any kids, and now she says, she's like, I took half of what we built, and now I travel all around the world, and she's a digital nomad. So she does videos in Greece. She does videos, and I mean, they're all over the place. I talked to her one time, reached out to her, and I think she was in Greece, and she said, yeah, I'll be a guest on your show. When we did the prep call, she was in Hawaii. And then when she was a guest on the show, she was visiting her parents in like Kansas or something like that. And that was all in like a 6-week period or something like that. Noor, give us more specifics. I think you're right. The my speaking coach years ago gave me that, how you hear like in Hollywood that the camera puts on 10 pounds. Well, the camera also takes off 50% of your energy. So if you think you look like this, you probably don't. Like you've got to really, really bring it. And you feel cheesy, you feel like you're overacting. but what's being portrayed on the other side is just good high energy. So I appreciate you saying that, Noor. What else is some of the style? Because you've brought up Mandy multiple times. I'm gonna have to go this week and take a look at her. I mean, guys, here's the other thing. I really need to up my video game now too, as I'm looking at this stuff. And we're, we teach Gen X and baby boomers are our audience primarily. And if they're not knowing what to do, we've got to go figure it out and lead it, which is what we're going to do over the next few weeks. I have Aya and Noor that are going to help me not be such an old guy and get it done. But Noor, what else?
I
Go
just
ahead,
want to, like, I have an idea for like videos to be posted, but I don't know if like this is something that can work. My idea is that I see posts that actually like interested into reading on LinkedIn, such as like attending some cool events like horse riding, like people they attend, like they go to horse riding events, or like something like Formula One, or like these cool things. So they post about it, and like I think these things like people like reading about, and like they want to be like more involved into your personal life, what you're doing, what you're attending. Do you want to like read or watch about these things? So I don't know if like these are things you post or your LinkedIn or not, but like I just
So it is for sure, and that's where the blending or the merging of our humanity, our personal life. And again, guys, I always use the word humanity because a lot of times in LinkedIn, especially with our Gen X to baby boomers, you say personal life and they go, oh, personal is Facebook and business is LinkedIn. So I use the word humanity to just prevent that. But it really is, it's bringing our personal lives in, but making sure our content, what we're teaching, what we're sharing is business related, is social gold. I think the things with people that are like, oh, they're at the Indy race, oh, they're horseback riding, they're on a waterfall. Those tend to be people who are influencers and they make an income by being in all these cool places, which is great. But I think for us, for just normal people, it's discovering, trying to decide 2-3 things in your life and being consistent with those. Chris, I think the Barton the dog and the walking your dog is a great way of doing that. And I think adding video into what you do with that is going to be awesome. I think getting 2 or 3 like situations, environments, activities, hobbies, life experiences, and using those repeatedly is important. So maybe it's, Chris, it's, walking the dog, and maybe, and I don't know all these things, but for me, it's my family, it's hiking, and it's my Jeep. Those are the 3 that I'm trying to bring my humanity. And I believe right now we all need to kind of up that game a little bit because I think my family stuff is fine and I'm intentional with it. But I think as the video stuff comes into LinkedIn, it's going to be a little bit boring. I think getting my, more with the hiking, more with the waterfalls, more with the views, more with that type of stuff, it makes it more exciting because, yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Most people live their 9-to-5 job. They go home, they make dinner, they clean the house, they go to bed, they just keep, day to day. So the more we could bring some of those adventures into our personal brand, I think it's going to capture and retain attention because honestly, most people are miserable in their lives. And we could be that conduit of letting people kind of live vicariously through us. What could those, what's that?
Conduit of joy.
Yeah. Well, and Chris, I mean, share what type of engagement did you get when you just took your Europe trip?
Very good. Very good. It was, I was actually looking back over the past year and just in my engagement in general. And it really has picked up since the first of the year when I started posting every day and being more consistent as a whole. I'm up like 60% on engagements and 85% on conversations, I think it was, or so that's good. But yeah, the the European
That's
stuff.
great. Those are great numbers.
Yeah, I'm super pleased with them when I kind of did a bit of a deep dive. I was intentional and I was concerned, when I was going there. I'm like, how do I do this? I don't want to come off. First of all, I don't want to not be present and take away time from the family and from the adventure and immerse myself in work. But I felt like it was important to make an effort to do. And it ended up being extremely natural because it was, we go to Florence and I take some pictures, and then on the train back or whatever, everybody's taking a nap and I'm like, oh, perfect opportunity to frickin', put the post up. And the pictures by and large were somewhat whimsical. The one that I think got the most was I was standing there holding everybody's shit. And it was like the doer of the stuff or the holder of the stuff. And it was just because everybody can relate to that. It's like, oh yeah, that's my husband, he's in charge of holding our stuff so we can dance in the streets. I got some really funny and great comments about
That's
that.
a dad role. Yeah, I was just gonna say. That's
Totally
the
a dad role. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Dads hold the shit
Yeah.
when people can have fun.
That's awesome.
So
That would
it was
remind
good.
me of the ski slopes.
What was that?
That reminded me of the ski slopes. Every time you go skiing, you see Dad with all the poles, all the skis, all the boots.
Yeah.
Kids running off, don't know where the wife is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I think, you guys, that it's time to expand our topics. Nora and I have been talking, and with Aya coming on board, Aya is going to lead my personal brand, Butch's personal brand. And what we've been talking about is getting those 3 topics on the business side and expanding the personal side to be a little bit more. So what we've decided to do, I believe, because I want them leading me, like getting me outside of my comfort zone, is we're going to start doing Jeep Talk, which will be a vertical video, especially now that LinkedIn video moved the way it is. But I think for all of us, we got to find 2 or 3 ways to expand our humanity, and our business content needs to be more focused on teaching. If this helps make sense where my brain's going, for me, might be the best way to explain it. Like, I'm really focused on Gen X and baby boomers as our audience. And I want to start speaking directly to them because it does 2 things. One, it tells my audience who's not my audience, but really helps my audience that is my audience lean in more. And it dawned on me over the last month or so that that's my audience anyway. And when I'm talking to younger people, they're going to go to a Morgan Ingram. They're going to go to a Darren McKee. They're going to go those directions. So why am I even pretending that my audience is this big? I'm going to narrow it. I'm going to speak directly to my audience. So narrowing to know exactly who you're talking to, even within your market. Is there a tighter niche? And I don't know if you guys have heard this expression. I learned it from Amy Porterfield a long time ago and never implemented it. But the riches are in the niches. I think the right way to say it is niche, but the riches are in the niches is the easy way to remember it, because the more focused you can be, it does this. It helps your audience know that they should be following you. When you're wider and you're not as clear, then they just kind of look at you and go, oh, you're just one of many people in this general genre. So I am focusing me because I think it's the right thing to do. I want to encourage you guys to think about, is there an opportunity for you? And there may not be, but it's worth the exercise of going, is there a way that I can start to focus this a bit more so that I'm speaking very directly to my audience?
Brandon, if I could kind of ask a question. I used that riches in the niches. I commented on somebody's post like within the last 2 days. So kind of funny timing there. And they hadn't heard it before. Like, oh, that's really good. I'm like, well, I didn't make it up, but so you and I turned this up or turned it over the other day when we were talking about the podcast. It's like my ideal client profile is really female between 28 and 40. Right. Those are the women by and large who are event managers, event directors. In some cases, maybe even, higher towards the C-suite. And granted, the higher up, the older they are potentially, but the folks that I end up having as clients for the most part, when I look at my best clients, they're all kind of in that realm. I'm a 57-year-old white guy, right? And me appealing to women who could potentially be my children or slightly older thereof. Like I want to walk that line so that I'm an interesting person for them to follow, but I don't want to become creepy. So that's
Yeah.
my concern on that. Is like how do I do that potentially?
Yeah. I'd love for Nor and Aya to maybe think about that as well and answer. But Chris, when I did that exercise with Funnel Amplified, our target audience was marketing, which tended to be very highly female, and our ICP was 35 to 45-year-old, strong executive CMO female. And same thing with me. I'm like, so I leaned into the dad, and that's where the dad jokes came about, and me really spending a lot of time talking or referencing my family online. And the strategy or the thinking behind it was, number one, it's who I am anyway. As you guys know, I'm all about my family. But number two, it was my way of like a preemptive that I'm not an old creepy guy. Like the more I talk about my wife, the more I talk about my family, I feel like it lowers that fear barrier. And so bringing that into my LinkedIn activity was strategic. And then leaning into the dad jokes, because obviously I'm embracing that I'm a dad. I'm not trying to be younger than I am or slick or cool. And also, the Jeep, it's kind of old guy car. I don't have my convertible Porsche anymore, all that type of stuff. But it was getting rid of the Porsche was more of a convenient thing, like outlive that season of my life type of stuff. But it wasn't for LinkedIn. But a lot of that was strategic for that same reason, which is part of the reason I thought about it for you when we talked this week with your show and podcast.
No, that makes sense. That again, we gotta be who we are. When we're trying to talk to a specific generation or segment,
Yeah.
knowing how you are
And-
and how you're perceived in that realm.
Yeah, and I think it has, the topics that we talk about, how we talk about them. Like on our show, what do you talk about in the beginning part of the chit chat before you get to the meat of the content? Like those are our opportunities to create the culture. Just like in meeting somebody at a conference, we have the initial, few seconds to a few minutes of meeting somebody to help kind of lay that foundation. And my strategy has always been when I'm talking to somebody who's younger and female is I bring up my family as quick as possible. I will look for ways to bring in something like, oh yeah, my wife dresses me or something like that, because my belief was a guy that's talking that way about his wife and kids is probably not trying to hide the fact that he has them and be creepy. And so that's why I've embraced it publicly inside of LinkedIn, and I lead with it so much.
Nor or Aya, what do you guys say to that? Or, you're both younger women when you're talking to people of our generations and so forth. What's a red flag? What's a green flag? Like, how do you kind of draw the line there or make a determination?
Well, I'll tell you the story of when I met Brandon for the first time, and the first thing he did was like literally bring up his wife and kids, and that was very comforting for me for some reason. Like I felt like, oh, well, that's interesting. And then I wanted to hear more about like the 5 kids and the wife and all of that. So this is like family plays a very important part when it comes to like female emotions. So it's a very good like talking point. And it's a good icebreaker as well. For like the awkwardness of like the first 5-10 minutes of a call or a meeting.
Mhm.
And it shows when you're trying too hard. if that makes sense. Like if you just be yourself, be natural, you know, be confident, but not like too confident because that rubs off bad. But, you know, being yourself is the best green flag, at least for me, like talking from like personal experience. I don't like when people, especially men, when they talk and they're like like they're showing off a lot and stuff like that. I prefer like when we're in a meeting or when we're meeting for the first time or discussing something, I prefer the person in front of me to be like as natural as possible, because that's where the human connection happens, you know. If we get into business together, we're going to meet a lot, so you're going to get to know me more, I'm going to get to know you more, so these things are going to come up anyway. So yeah, being your natural self without thinking too much about it is just the best advice I can think of right now.
What if my natural self is creepy?
No, it's not. I've seen you like 1,000 times now. No, it's not.
I'm not, yeah, I'm not saying I am, but interestingly enough, like end up having conversations similar to this with my wife. My daughters are 23 and 21. And my wife is super liberal, feminine power. And I've said some things or defended guys my age saying some things. For instance, we were out for drinks a couple of weeks ago. One of my friends, who my daughter's known for her whole life, he said, "Grace, you look really pretty." And I was like, okay. And she came home and she's like, "That was weird and creepy." And I was like, I'm struggling to kind of get that. So I get that, you know, things that I think are normal are potentially perceived as not normal. And I guess
Mhm.
all I'm throwing out there is like, I know I need to be careful. I know who I am. I do have great relationships with a lot of these clients who are, you know, in that kind of age group, not 23 necessarily, but certainly, you know, 30 to 40. You know, young people just getting married, starting out. I feel like those are great conversations to have because I've done the whole family thing. I've got kids in college and out of college, and you know, some of the things that I have to say actually are maybe, you know, hey, are you guys starting a 401k yet? But, I mean, your 529s, like you need to start investing your money for your kids' college. You know, so some things I bring to the table are going to be received as welcoming, but I guess I want to make sure that I understand as best I can, like where are potential pitfalls? What do I need to embrace? What do we need to stay away from?
Yeah, I don't go near any of that commenting on looks or anything at all. I mean, with my own daughters, I do. But other than that, I don't even come near it. Like it's just because you just don't know how it's going to be received.
Right.
Yeah, most of the
Yeah.
time it's not going to be received great as well, because like if
Right.
we're in a business meeting and you say, "Oh, you look really nice today," I would automatically think like, we're in a business meeting. Why would he think I look nice? You know? So, yeah, that is something I wouldn't
Third
recommend you
rail, stay
doing.
away. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate the reinforcement. Because in some instances, I feel like it's complimentary. Somebody that I work with, like, oh, you know, you look nice. But
Yeah.
to your point, I don't want that
I
to come off as improper.
yeah, I think compliments from a male to a female in general are just a challenge.
Hmm.
They're just they have too much potential to go bad. Um, One of the things I do um, in some environments is will compliment men in the team in front of women. Um, like I had one client, we were at their event, and it was somewhat intentional because I could tell the woman was guarded, and I wanted to try and ease that. And a guy came up, and I didn't comment on his or compliment his looks. I complimented his energy. I said, "Man, look at you! You're all vibrant today. Look how excited and energetic you are." And I felt like that kind of worked, and that like her wall kind of lowered a little bit with me because it was me pouring it. And you guys know me; I love to pour into people. I'm just always very cautious. But I was, making an effort to pour into the men and waited to see if the two women on the team would be more open with me. And one of them actually complimented me. She's like, I love how encouraging you are with people. And I felt like that was a good, like, then for me to be able to be more encouraging towards her, but never anything on looks or clothes or hair or anything like that.
Mhm.
I do, and you got this opportunity as well, Butch. You have it with a daughter. Like, you have 2 daughters. I have 4 daughters. Like, I talk about them pretty quickly as a way to try and lower that threat, if you will. And I talk about my wife a lot really quickly about how much I adore her and how much I appreciate her, and and just little things like you know
Yeah, that's the screen.
just little stuff like that. I want it. I mean, one, it's me, it's who I am, but two, it's intentional to just make sure that that's communicated every chance I can.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
This
and
doesn't work for
getting
this doesn't work for anybody but me around here. But but talking about your grandkids works well too.
yeah. So
You
I
may
think
have one. You may have a grandkid soon, Brandon.
what's that?
You may have a grandkid soon.
Uh, yeah. Well, Kate,
No
Kate
rush.
and Matt are the only ones married, and they're saying it's still at least 8 years. She's in nursing school, so
Yeah,
if I'm a grandfather next year,
that's
it'll
what
be a big shock to somebody.
that's what they all say.
Yeah. Well. So anyway, yeah, I think what I want to talk about next week is these videos, and for the rest of the time, Chris, you identified Morgan's post have been very like, this is how you do things. And I don't know the opportunity in your space on where that is. I mean, we talked about it before, like on the webinar, like what could we give people as a download? But I think getting into looking at, okay, what are some of their biggest fears? Like I had a call this morning with a sales leader for a company out of Vancouver, Canada, 59 years old. He told me his age. That's the only reason I know it. But I would have said, he's around our age. And he was just like, I know I need to embrace LinkedIn better, but I'm really just not sure what to do. And our fist bump messaging has been around, hey, we serve executives who believe they need to up their LinkedIn game, but 3 things get in the way. Number one, they'll say they just don't have time to do it. But what they really mean is number two, which is they don't know what to do. And if they're really being honest, they would say number three, which is it scares the crap out of them to do something and ruin the reputation they've been working on for the last 20 to 30 years. And when I say that to them, they really peak up. It's like, me, and you get me. Tell me what I need to do. So with him being at 15, I started asking him. I said, so what's the concern? He's like, I just don't know what to do. And so for me, moving forward, it was that big reminder that telling people what to do. Hey, choose these 3 topics about your humanity. Choose 3 topics about your business. Each one of those topics, you can have as many subtopics as you want, but just repeat, repeat, repeat. The next one is how to create content. And tell everybody, when you get done with the call, grab your phone, turn on the audio note, and just give yourself a summary of the call. And then use that transcripts with AI, either ChatGPT or come use Fistbump, and let it convert it and create it into a post for you. Telling people how to take your transcripts from customer calls, use a Gong, use a Fathom, use Zoom, whatever, and record it and use the transcripts. With Fistbump, we've got the ability to turn those into 4 different posts. But just telling everybody those simple ways to do it, knowing that most people, they'll believe in you because you're teaching them how to do it. But what they're really going to do is raise their hand and say, can you just do it for me? So my biggest encouragement, Chris, Butch, nor Aya for me, Anyone that's listening to the video, we've got to get back to that. Teach people, teach people, teach people. And I believe if we keep marrying it with our personal photos, bringing our humanity, and then bring that business expertise with how to do things, that's going to create not just like I care about engagement. I care about more engagement. Honestly, I don't need to be Darren McKee or Morgan with hundreds of thousands of followers. I just don't care. My niche is here. I care more about being valuable and growing my business. Our goal is about 3,000 customers. That's all I need. I don't care about being a who's who and all that stuff. But I want to speak very directly to my niche market, and I want to encourage you guys to do that as well. Can you narrow your focus to a more specific niche? Get inside their head. What do they need? Tell them that you're speaking to them. You'll see some of my posts, and I'll do more of them like, this is who we serve. These 3 things, because whenever I say that to somebody, they go, oh my gosh, you get me. And that's what we're trying to do with our social activity. We want them to feel like we get them so that we are the choice when the need arises. Which were you going to
Which you
say
look like you had a
something, or were
thought.
you just, yeah.
No, for some reason I was just dropped from the meeting, so I just logged back in.
We
Well,
were
my only
talking about you,
comment
so
on
we
that.
kicked you out for a little bit.
That's fine.
Good
You're
talk.
not the only people that are talking about me today.
My
Go
only
ahead, Nora.
comment, Brandon, is instead of recording an audio note, record a video. We want to keep
Fair.
up with everything that's happening. So, you can do it like one time, do an audio note, and then the second, just like try a video. What's the worst that's going to happen? Nothing.
Yeah, I think I need to do more. I need to do more stuff with this thing. Not only
Mhm.
use it, but I also need to tell everybody about it. Because, and this is something that I want to encourage you guys too to think about. I do this all the time, and it's stupid, but a lot of things that I do, I don't think about the value of it for other people because I just assume like, oh, everybody probably does this. If I thought about it, everybody does. But this thing is a lifesaver. Number one, I can put my phone on it here. Number two, I can do this and turn it into a selfie stick. And number three, it's got a remote control so that I can take pictures, I can take videos, I can do everything in like my own little mini studio. And I think, Butch, how long was I mean, I used this for a really long time before I even said something to you about it. And I mentioned it in one of our coaching calls, I don't know, 6, 8, 9 months ago, about how I send video messages directly to people in LinkedIn. And everyone's like, where'd you get that thing? And I was like, oh my gosh, Brandon, you got to remember this stuff. So think about, like, Chris, you've been in your industry so long, there's probably a lot of things that you do, you think about that are very natural and intuitive to you that you think, everybody knows this. And they probably don't.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, I keep it in the car and I forget I have it in the car, and I'm trying to take a selfie, like this when I could be using the selfie stick.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a couple, I know we're getting to the end here. I got a couple questions just based on some tactical with regards to the videos. Length of time, ideal, 30
Sure.
seconds. Like, where are we kind of aiming with this?
Nora, I'm going to let you
Well,
lead
with
this.
shorts like these, I would recommend like not more than 2.5 minutes because then you're going to be like rambling.
Okay.
So like 60 seconds to like 2.5 minutes. That's the perfect length.
60 seconds to 2.5 minutes.
Yep.
Nora, you can tell me I'm wrong, but 2.5 minutes seems like a long time.
It
Yeah.
seems like a long time, but it depends on your thought process inside your head because this is going to be like a trial and error thing. You're going to record that video probably like 10 times before you actually decide using it. And it all depends on how your mind works. If you have like an idea of what you're going to say or talk about, but you don't have it outlined into points and you're just winging it, it's probably going to take 2.5 minutes until you like reach the conclusion of what you want to say. But if it's a bit more organized into like points, oh, I'm going to mention this first, then this, not too rigid, so it's not scripted, but it's like guidelines, you're probably going to be like 60 seconds.
So the nice thing about, and I guess that's part of my apprehension, right? The nice thing about taking a picture of me on a walk and then formulating an idea of what I want to talk about and then writing it, running it through, AI, clean it up, edit it, whatnot. That's a process, right? That I get, the outcome that I get is basically what I desire. To your point,
Right.
like on the video, it's like I got to have that thought already kind of cooked in my head. Find the right setting, and maybe that's not the big deal whether I'm standing inside, outside, or in front of a river or whatnot. But like be able to get that and nail it to a point where it's like I'm good with this content, be able to feel good about putting it up.
Well, just switch your process. Like instead of taking the picture and then thinking about what you're going to say, think
Mhm.
about what you're going to say, write it down, and you have like a little mini transcript for you to read from. And it's not like you're actually reading, but you formulated your thoughts on a piece of paper and you just have this paper on your desk next to you. You hit record, you're talking. Once in a while, you're like looking at the paper very quickly just to like capture the next thought or capture the next point, and you have a video. So it's like it's your process, but the other way around.
Makes sense.
Yeah. That's good, Nora. Yeah, I think part of. Go ahead.
Okay. I was gonna steer in a slightly different direction before we finish because one of your thing was the referral network. So before we hop off, I just wanted to own up to kind of the reality of where I am.
Okay, go for
But
it.
if we get, okay, I currently have a list of 10 or 12 people I think that I put together, and for the most part they are people that I know, and even in some cases there's been some back and forth between us in the past. But the more I thought about it was like, what I'd like to do is more formalize the process to a point where like I want to put it out there on the table, like, hey, here's the reality of what I'm hoping for with this. How can we help each other better? So
Mhm.
in my particular instance, that's how I'm kind of seeing this, as an opportunity to take an existing relationship and make it into potentially a more fruitful relationship, which requires more effort on my end to do so, and then also to better understand what they do. So that's just kind of how I was kind of reframing it. Because initially,
Mhm.
I know you kind of left it up to us, but I was like, yeah, I don't see this as like a brand new connection and being like, hey, I've never met you before. Let's be partners and let's refer each
Yeah.
other, right? So, anyways, that was kind of, yes, we're 3 weeks into it, but in my head, it's kind of taken a while to kind of refine the process. But I feel much more comfortable with that at this point.
That makes sense, Chris. Yeah, none of mine are new connections. Mine are older, longer relationships, and just discovering where the win-win is in that.
Brandon, Brandon, Chris, Nor, I'm in that 10 or 12 range right now. Brandon, as you know, I've been a little distracted recently.
Hmm.
One of the things that and I haven't really, those are just ones I got off the top of my head. I didn't dive into my the list, which I'll do this coming week. Uh, one of the things one of the things I believe for us for Fist Bump is that coaches could be a great referral source. And so I have two coaches that have agreed, are big time coaches that have agreed to meet with me face to face in the coming week to 10 days. So I think that'll be an interesting to see.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I mean, look, I think referrals, especially in this business climate right now, where it's so hard to get buyers to want to talk to anybody, that the warm connections. I closed a new client on our executive reputation growth program on one call this week, but she came highly recommended from somebody who's never used our service. He just follows me on LinkedIn. We've engaged several times. We've had a couple of conversations. He was interested in bringing me into the company he was working at, and then he quit because he hated the culture of the company he was at, but he highly referred me to her. And she got on the call and said, Jason said I should be talking to you. You know, what do you have? And 35, 40 minutes later, she said, I want to do this. Send me a contract. So the power of the referral, of rising above the noise as we talk about, and getting good conversations started with the right people. One of the best things we could do right now is referrals.
It almost happened. No, first time. No.
So,
It's not me.
all right. No, I think it was Chris, but it's all good.
Yeah, I had some background noise there. Lots of folks outside my office.
That's cool. All
I'm
right.
gonna go
Anything
pick up
else?
my
Anybody want to?
picking up my boy today, flying back from Copenhagen right now. So looking forward to
Oh,
hearing
good
about
for
some
you.
adventures. Yeah,
Awesome.
should be good.
Yeah, I'm at Samford with my son with his orientation stuff before he starts in the fall. So, yeah.
Nice.
Well, I'm just at home.
All right.
It's all good.
All right, everybody. Happy Friday. Good stuff today. We'll start working on videos next week. So, Nora, you and I are going to have to work on my videos this week so that we can teach people what we're learning.
I'm gonna start
Sure.
filming some practices.
Good. Good job.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Brandon,
everybody.
can you
Have a
also
good
can you
weekend.
just share what that little selfie stick is, or what
Yeah.
if I Google it, like literally like
I'll send
selfie
you-
stick with a remote
I'll
link?
send you a link to it. Yeah, I've got it saved. I'll text it to you in like 3
Okay.
minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. Thank you. All
I'll
right.
see you guys.
Bye, guys.